Hi everybody, welcome to N levels and O levels oral spoken interaction. We'd like to share with you some practice questions so that you can get an A1 for this section of the examination, which constitute 20% of your GCE O level or N level results for English. So that's the first part of it, is the spoken interaction that we want to talk about. The whole duration for the oral is 10 minutes, excluding waiting time. You'll be asked to watch a 1-minute video, and then after which you'll be engaging in a discussion with your examiners. So, how will you be graded? This is the oral rubric. The first part that you'll be graded on is the personal response. You are supposed to develop a personal response for any of your oral question, which means you have to tell yourself PEEL. You give a point, you need to elaborate and provide examples. Always link back to your teacher's the question given by the examiner. We also look at the clarity of expression. You need to use good, strong vocabulary with good pronunciation. There also need to be, number 3, interaction, active interaction to be precise, where you need to be engaged actively with examiners in a sustained discussion. So what must we do after we finish watching the video? The first thing you must tell yourself is to brainstorm. Ask yourself 5 W's and 1 H. What is the main focus of the video? What are the expressions? What's going on? Who are the people in the video? What is happening? Is this an event? Where is this place? Is this a food court? Is this a hawker center? Try to be specific and provide some details within your head, and think of how you're going to substantiate all this. Why is this taking place? It could be a cooking competition, it could be a visit to a doctor, or people queuing up to get vaccination. Why are the people behaving in this way? When is this going on? Is it happening on a special event, an occasion, Chinese New Year maybe, Deepavali, Thaipusam? Is it a daytime or is it at night? Let's try a sample oral question now, yeah? Okay. The first one, let's look at this video. We call it At a Picnic. Now, after watching the video, as I mentioned, you should do 5 W's, 1 H. Look at the foreground, which is the front of the video. Look at the background. Where is this place? Think. You see girls, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them at a verdant green lawn, garden park area. How do they look like? Are they enjoying themselves? What are the expressions? The audio or the sound made in the video doesn't really matter, because you will not be asked any questions on that. So while you're watching the video, you should be focusing more on the expression. Now, the next thing is to select evidence to support your argument. When you look at a video, you need to find points that you want to substantiate with. For example, you ask yourself, what is the body gestures, the expression? Do they look very tense? Their eyebrow like furrowing? What is going on exactly? Yeah, so after that, let's look at this sample question. Basically, you are looking at a video which depicts a scene where a group of teenagers are having picnic at a park. The atmosphere, always try to bring in the atmosphere when you can, is convivial, which means friendly, but a much better vocabulary. The youths are deep in conversation. They are grinning from ear to ear, evidence. The lady on the far left looks exceptionally pleased. Try to use strong adjective to bring forward your point. She's obviously enjoying the warmth of the sunshine and the scenic surrounding. So you can go on to elaborate, but do not go too far, as in like don't spend too much time. Probably about a minute or a half of will be good. One pro tip for this is you need to move from one person to another, observe the expression, don't use things like the people, they, the guys. Don't use words like guys. You have to be precise if you can. Give details of how they look like, the dressing. Are they wearing casual clothes? Are they, in office wear? What's going on exactly? Be specific. Now, always talk about the atmosphere when you can. This is a pro tip. Listen to the examiner's question. Answer the question, but bring in the atmosphere as a form of evidence. So always listen and then be able to say things like, oh, I feel that they are very joyful because the atmosphere seems to be very light-hearted, playful, joyous. If you feel that the atmosphere is a little bit dark, somber, like maybe it's like people looking very serious, you can use words like gloomy, cold, even threatening, tense, suspenseful. If you find that everything looks very calm, maybe a group of elderly playing chess at a park, at a void deck, peaceful, tranquil, calming, it's really up to you, okay? But this will really be a factor that the examiners are looking for, because most people tend to neglect this atmosphere discussion. What will examiners ask me for question 1? Some sample question will be, how do you feel about the people? What activity is it? What are the people doing? Would you like to be the person in the picture or be in the place shown in the video? Would you like to experience the activity in the video? Question 2, the discursive question. What question will I be asked for question 2? Sometimes it can ask you to talk about the pros and cons, advantages, disadvantages of particular subject. What are the pros and cons of something? Why does the issue in the video occur? How can you manage the issue in the video? Let's say there's a group of people sardined in the MRT carriage. For example, it's obviously overcrowding. What would you do? How would you, manage the issue at hand? Or if there's water on the floor and, things like that. They may ask you a question along these lines, yeah? Question 3, the persuasive question, yeah? Always remember you need to present a clear and consistent stand. Do you agree or disagree with the statement? If they give you things like corporal punishment is not acceptable in any circumstances, do you agree? Imagine yourself thinking about the keywords. Ask yourself, corporal punishment, what does it mean? Not acceptable means you won't allow it. Any circumstances means regardless of situation. So if you can paraphrase and try to include such words in your answer. Always state a stand. Say things like, yes, I concur to a great extent. I beg to differ. Step 2, you need to organize your answers one against in peel. Always have 2 to 3 points to support your view, which we call this thesis statement. What do you agree and how do you support your stand? The next thing, that step 3, is to point out that you recognize there's a possibility of an alternative stand. So you need to say things like, then again, there are others who may think that corporal punishment is acceptable. On the other hand, some people believe that corporal punishment it works, things like that. So you have to point out there is a possibility of someone else thinking differently from your stand, yeah? You need to present at least one alternative view, yeah? Okay. Let's try some sample oral questions. This is a past year question on transport, yeah? Actually, this is very fresh from one of my students, secondary 4, normal academy. They just had their oral recently, like 2 days ago, and in July 2021. And this, on day 2, they actually were asked about transport. So you can watch the video first. So question 1. In the video shown, where do you think the people are going? A sample answer will be, this video depicts a scene where 2 people are sitting in a bus chatting merrily with one another. The atmosphere is convivial. The 2 ladies look fairly relaxed and at ease. They are bantering happily and seems to be deep in conversation. From the way they are dressed in smart casual wear and not office work clothes, I believe that they may be heading to run an errand or going shopping, simply enjoying a day out together. The bus does not look crowded at all, so I reckon that this is not a peak hour, as there are just a few commuters around. What kind of public transport do you prefer? The MRT or the bus? I prefer the bus. There is no feeling more pleasurable than the long bus ride home after a stressful day of school. If time permits, a route exists, I will always choose the bus. I feel that it allows me to escape into this bubble of privacy created by a playlist, of good music, and I can just sit myself at the window seat where I can watch the world whiz by. In such a pressure cooker society like Singapore, I feel that we often live our lives in the margins between work or school for that matter. And bus rides to me are a perfect time to just disconnect, offering a brief respite from a busy day at school. It's also a time where I can unplug from the soul and just simply enjoy some me time as the bus meanders around my neighborhood, sending me home. The question number 3. Do you think that public transport in Singapore should be made free? It is my belief that public transport should be made free. There's a myriad of reasons why I feel that people should not be charged for using public transport. First and foremost, it's good for the environment. So bring out your point. Developed and sustainable cities like Luxembourg recently became the first country in the world to make all public transport free. I feel that Singapore should follow suit because we are also trying to become a world-class city with which is always paying attention to how we can make our city more sustainable. I feel that being a developed city-state like Singapore, free transport will encourage people to take public transport, and this will reduce our carbon footprint. Singapore is keen to become a sustainable city, and by 2050, we want to halve our greenhouse gas emission. So I feel that if you were to provide free transport, public transport, it will be highly beneficial to the environment. So this is one point. So you should at least have another 2 points to substantiate. For example, it should be made free because we have an aging population. We should not give them additional burden to bear for this silver generation. And then another thing, it could be that public transport should be free because it will also boost tourism. Because in some cities, because public transport is free, you also encourage tourists to travel around in public transport. Subscribe to our channel for more exam tips for O-levels English. Support us today, and then hopefully we can create more videos for you. Please, thank you. You can also visit our website at www.thelearningspace.sg for free test papers. Yes, it's free.